What's up? Gang, on Voices for KERN right now. I got the co-host of the year, the month, the millennium. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, you're not more adjectives? Or?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
My man Dylan. I'm Jovon Dangerfield. We're in the building. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling really good, Jovon. How are you?
I'm good, man. Are you ready to talk about trash?
Yes.
That was cool. I hit you with that? Okay. I want to introduce my friend. You introduce your friend, our friend. I got the woman, the myth, the legend. This woman was the radio voice for Lincoln Mercury, selling whips. This woman is also a gifted researcher. She's doing anthropological work. Anthropological.
It made me think about it.
Anthropological work. She's done so many things for us, and she's also on staff with us. I don't know if you guys ever seen her on camera, but she is here right now, looking like $1,000,000. Okay, Lori. What's up, Lori?
Thank you for inviting me. I'm
Yeah.
excited to do this.
Is this your first time doing a podcast on camera?
It is.
Oh my God, you must be
Yeah.
scared, huh?
No.
Nah.
No.
Yeah,
I
well,
can step outside my comfort zone.
cool. Tell us a little bit of your role here at Time for Change.
Well, I'm technically a youth coordinator.
Mm-hmm. One of your
and
roles. Mm-hmm.
I support these youth in every aspect of everything they do. Events. I get to spend quality time in the car with them as I do most of the transportation. CiCi, in fact, is the first person I met through Time for Change. So, yeah, she's my first ride.
And your other work in Time for Change?
I help them lead research projects and teach them how to do them scientifically and correctly.
Yeah. Lori's been instrumental in our research, our efforts towards city council, all that good stuff. So shout out to you, Lori.
Thank you.
Who you got with you, Dale?
I have our wonderful CiCi.
Woo!
She's been here with us for a really long time, haven't you, CiCi? Right?
Yeah,
How long have you been here?
Almost. 2 years.
2 years.
2
Me
years.
too. Twins.
We started the same day.
Oh, really? I
We
don't remember
did,
that.
yeah.
But, okay.
But yeah, I've been in Time for Change for 2 years now. This is like my third or fourth podcast. Doing pretty well, doing big things. I just got another internship.
Let's
so.
go.
I'm a nursing assistant or whatever.
Oh,
so,
that's really
yeah.
cool.
Wow. So you're finally gonna pay me back or not? Probably not.
That's like a life loan right there.
Exactly. Pay me back with success. I'm so proud of you. See you doing good things. Let's jump right into it. We got limited time. We're trying to make sure that we get as much in as possible. So we're here to talk about trash, straight up, aka Garbology. Let's talk about it. Lori,
Sir?
we recently did some work at MLK Park. Well, this was like almost a year ago, probably.
More than a year
It was
ago.
more, huh?
Mhm.
Can you explain to those that are watching, like, what Garbology is?
Sure. So you might be more familiar with archaeology. Archaeology is studying man-made artifacts that are left behind by ancient societies that tell us how they lived. We think about things like people find pottery shards. They find King Tut's mask. They find other Indiana Jones type of treasures, and it tells them a little bit about ancient societies. Garbology is the modern equivalent of that. So we look at the garbage that people produce, and we can tell what goes on in that society or what goes on in that environment.
Wow. That's cool.
Mhm.
Whoever knew by just going through a bunch of trash. There's some guy going through my trash this morning. Maybe
Well,
he
that was more about recycling.
Oh, okay. Maybe he wasn't.
Yeah.
He wasn't a researcher.
Yeah.
I was about to chase him off. But I think that's really cool that we were able to do that and have you doing it. I know that you were there. What was your experience or your memory like being there, like doing the Garbology thing?
At first it was kind of like I didn't understand it because I remember we did like a pre-run here at the office, and I was a bit confused on what the bigger picture would be, but I think over time after Lori doing the research and helping us to understand what Garbology could mean for us doing it at MLK Park, it kind of clicked a little bit more for me. I had a really good experience. I mean, we've been cleaning MLK for like basically a whole year now, so we go there and we find so many different things, and it kind of told us a lot more about that community. So I think it was a really good experience, and I'm happy to keep going with it.
Still.
Yeah, thank you, CiCi. I mean, the point of Garbology as well is to look into the results of our findings and come up with strategies to help reduce harm reduction and stuff. Like, that brings us that brings us into our harm reduction program as well. Maybe Laura can tell you a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, we wanted to clean MLK Park because it's in our area of focus in Southeast Bakersfield, but we recognize that doing a little bit deeper dive into what's actually being discarded at the park was going to tell us a story about what was happening. So we did a systematic search, and what it gave us back was insight about how we could advocate to improve the overall safety of the park. Because we want to see the park return to being the heart of the community, because that's what it was. So yeah, that was why we chose the park in particular, and that's why we decided to do the Garbology study. And we were quite fortunate on the day that we did it. It was Earth Day, coincidentally, April of 2023, and we found everything we expected to find and more.
Question. What does harm reduction mean?
So when you can accept that a situation is what it is in a particular environment, and we're speaking specifically at MLK, we're not surprised to find the evidence that we found in the park. We knew what we were going to find. But it tells us a little bit about what's really happening and how can we make it better. We found a lot of really compelling evidence, a lot of dangerous evidence. We've had some interesting experiences at the park. And so harm reduction means we see it, we know what's happening. We can't change what people are doing at the park, but we can give them some opportunities and some alternatives that'll make the park a safer place for the whole community.
Wow. What do you think about that?
I think that's a really good point, because I was doing a little bit of my own research and I was seeing a lot of people talk about how as far as like putting in like, you know, the things that we're gonna put in, like the boxes for the, you know, the different syringes and the different sharps and things that we find in the park, that people think that that's like more advertising, like, hey, you have this box now, so you can do this. But it's not like, I don't think it's really about us advertising or trying to promote. It's more of like protecting the community, because we can't stop people from doing these things, but we can try to prevent, you know, the other aspects. Like there's a school right next to MLK Park, and there's also a graveyard over there. And you know, for example, when I did the walk to the park or walk from school from Bessie Owens, you know, I saw a lot of the kids pass, you know, walking through that park, and most of those areas are where we find these things at. So it's like, it's protecting that community. It's not just.
Heard you met some friends on your.
She's had an interesting experience.
I wouldn't call them friends. But yeah.
Talk about it. What happened?
Yeah, so for my walk we did a comparison between MLK Park and it was Bessie Owens and I think it was Donald Subaru School. And I did a walk from the school through the park, like into a neighborhood. So I didn't have a bad experience at Donald Subaru. It was really nice. The parents weren't really worried about the camera or anything like that. But as far as MLK Park, you could see like a lot of the kids were taking alternative routes, you know, walking around or walking away from like a certain group of people, you know, not going towards specific areas of the park, you know, staying away from, you know, some of the homeless people that might stay there and stuff like that. So it just shows that these environments are completely different. And the kids that live near MLK Park have to deal with far more than the kids near Donald Subaru like have to, you know, deal with. And also dealing with, you know, the sharps and the other dangers that are there. And, you know, you don't want to take your kid to a park or your kid be walking to school. Kids are clumsy sometimes. Somebody could fall, trip on the sidewalk. They can get cut with a piece of glass. You know, sometimes, you know, there's needles, there's sharps. You know, a child could get accidentally stabbed with something, and you don't know what type of diseases and stuff that they could get from that. So I just think that it's really important what we're doing. And I think that it's something that a lot of people should be listening to, because you want to protect the community as a whole. You
got stopped though.
It's like we keep going back to that.
It's a compelling
because I want
story,
people to know, unless you don't want to. But
no,
I think
I'm just trying to figure out how much I can say.
All of it.
I did end up getting stopped at MLK Park when I was doing the walk to school. I had to physically stop our camera that was attached to me because some of the people at the park who are, you know, they live in that area, they're not used to seeing, you know, somebody walk around with a camera on their chest. So as I was walking through the park, I was with one of our colleagues, Raphael, and they had stopped us and asked us, like, hey, what are you doing? Kind of like a little bit of a aggravation moment, or just like trying to like get to us and see what we're doing there. They said they weren't familiar with us cleaning the park before, but it took a while. Once we brought up Jovon's name after that, it kind of went back to like, okay, cool, like they're okay. But for a minute, it kind of felt like
Yeah?
we were being questioned.
Got you out of a gang situation
We're
on
being-
street credibility, street credit score, 420.
Yeah, and it was a lot of them were
Sorry.
a lot of them
I
had
saw
like
that.
you know beer cans in their hands. There was a bunch of beer bottles and boxes around them, so you know these people were intoxicated. And imagine being not a 19-year-old girl who can handle herself and explain and communicate properly. Imagine being a younger child who doesn't have that ability to communicate, and you're getting in this type of situation. So it's not just about, oh, I got approached. Imagine the people who have to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, when they live in that area and they're familiar with the area, but those people aren't familiar with them. So it was kind of like disheartening for me because some of my siblings and my cousins used to go to that school, and that problem wasn't there before. But I feel like people are always, some people are just not used to seeing other people try to come in and help their community. A lot of people are unused to it, and I understand it because I used to live in that community as well. But I'm just thinking about the younger people who live in that area and that community and who might have to deal with that on a day-to-day basis and become approached by these intoxicated people who may not be able to control their mannerisms or their words or stuff like that, and dealing with the sharps and the needles and the homeless people and just a bunch of different things. And it was really uncomfortable for me, but I feel like I was in a position to be able to handle myself, and I had one of our staff members there, and I also had another one of our youth there, so I was okay. But just in the sense that I'm thinking about the people who aren't able to communicate the way that I can communicate and get myself out of that situation. So that's why it kind of bothered me more. But I definitely do think that was a learning experience for me, and it made me feel a lot more like, okay, like some people are, not used to what we're doing, and they might not be super trustworthy with us, but it definitely does put me in a position to be like, maybe the things that we're doing actually could help people in the community. So.
That's crazy. Dylan, what are your thoughts on that?
I just think, it's what you just said. We get approached, and then you said how like it's kind of hard for them to trust us at first. But then at once you brought up Jovon, they did kind of get ease into us a little bit, and I think that's like really powerful because we can use that example for not just them, but like for everyone. We can get our word out there. We can get our mission, our goals out there, and we can get people like on our side and like help the park as a whole, the community as a whole, and bring us all together. I think that's really powerful.
I'm going to keep it even more real. Kids should be able to do research projects in parks without being approached by gang members. How about I say that? Because I know everybody can't say that, but I can. Kids should be able to play at the doggone park without somebody being like, where you from, cuz?
Yeah.
That's goofy. You guys should be able to make a movie being a part of a nonprofit that's changing your city without being approached whether you drop my name or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's whack. Now let's make the correlation between that and harm reduction, because a lot of times the same stuff you see is directly connected to the vibe, the feeling, and the overall character, morale, participation of the park. When you think about that park right now, you think about that's the park where all the people be at on Sunday smoking and drinking, kicking it, and we know that they're all from certain sides and they bang. So if you're a kid and you want to go to a park, can you go to that one for real?
No.
Would you feel comfortable unless you was gangbanging to go to it? Exactly. Let's take this thing even deeper. Lori, we found stuff.
We found a lot of stuff.
What'd we find?
We found some alarming stuff at the park. We're not surprised that we found a lot of cigarettes and we found a lot of beer bottle caps. We found a lot of empty alcohol bottles because those can be purchased at the gas station right across the street from the park. So we knew we were going to find that when we did. But we also find some really scary things that were thrown in the park. And we have continued to find scary things every single time we go to the park. We find empty medical marijuana containers. We have found, I think, some of the scariest things that we found, and I think it was your team, Jovon, at the Garbology study, where we found one or two what you identified as empty heroin baggies.
Yeah. I'll jump back in and let you right back in. We noticed from the black tar in the baggies, and the burnt black tar or the brown substance, you can always tell. Obviously, I come from a background of mental health, substance abuse. So that was where we got that from. And we had seen that. Lori, go ahead and jump back in on that.
So we weren't surprised that that's what we found. We expected to find out. It is, but it's very, it's gut-wrenching. Because when you think about it, imagine that you take your children to the park and your little toddler wanders off and picks it up, and what's the first thing little kids do? They put it in their mouths. Now, we also found at the Garbology study an empty generic Viagra container. That's a vasodilator, and that can cause some serious harm. It can cause serious harm to adults. So imagine there's a little bit of residue on this. Your toddler puts it in their mouth. The next thing you know, they've got tachycardia, just super fast heartbeat. Their blood pressure drops. They start to get dizzy. They can faint. You're in the ER immediately because you don't know how much of it they've ingested. This is just laying on the ground. The good news about that is that we didn't find evidence at that time of these hard drugs in the playground areas. The bad news is we have since then, and we have found at least a syringe at, if not every 90% of the cleanups that we've done.
With the needle
With the needle attached.
intact.
Yeah, and we have some pictures of that, and I'll get them to them here. So this is what it looks like when we collect. We put these in sharp containers. So we're very safe. We make sure that everybody's really safe. But as you can see from these slides, we have found them. And this slide in particular contains one of my favorite pictures.
She loves it.
Is if you take a look at that slide on the left, you'll see that not only is there a sharp on the ground, but as you can see in the background, there's a school bus. This sharp was found actually less than 100 yards from the school. And so this is the reality of what the kids, like CiCi said, this is what these kids face every day. If you were to leave the school and walk home, you're going to be walking past these.
I've never seen a guy so happy to pick up a needle.
I know. He found weed. I mean, this has become so common now. We refer to it as finding sharps in the wild.
Yeah.
And we all get excited when we find them because we're taking them out of the park. We're making the park a safer place.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
This is too compelling here. Lori, I want to ask you a question before we go on here. Sure. As we were drawing these conclusions, finding sharps, finding cigarettes, what about the fact that this had never really been done before? How much does that bother or weigh into your mindset about this whole thing?
We have to remember this is just one park, one urban park in America that goes on everywhere. It's not, like I said, it's not something we didn't expect to find, but it's very sobering. It's very alarming. I think our youth who go and clean the park now have a better understanding of what it means to be aware of your environment, and definitely gives them an idea of how we can fix things.
How about some reactions from you guys on all this good stuff?
Definitely aware of your environment, because I know that when we go to the park, sometimes there's definitely areas that we avoid, and there's definitely like times that we know, make sure you're looking down on the ground, like soft pieces of grass and stuff like that, to make sure that you're not stepping on anything that you're not supposed to step on, or just making sure you're checking your environment, because our job is to go there and clean the park and keep the community safe, and the things that we find, we add it to our research. So just keeping ourselves safe in the process. But definitely, I like the part where you said be aware of your environment, because that, it just clicked for me and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I just think it's really just how Lori said it, gut-wrenching, going to the Elmwood Park cleanups every single time and finding the cigarette butts and the beer caps and all that jazz. All of it a lot of it frequents in the playground itself area as well. It's just, that's crazy to me how kids can't even use the playground, how it's intended to use by the city. So. And
these aren't sharps that are hidden. They're right out. In fact, the one we found last week was on the walkway that all of us used to walk in.
All of us walked in that area multiple times, and it's just crazy how we didn't notice it.
This is crazy. Now, we're going to take a quick break and come back and jump into a few more things on this, because this is just getting real good. So we'll be right back with Voices for KERN.
Hey guys, my name is Dylan. I'm so sorry to interrupt this podcast, but I'm just trying to remind you guys of a really important date, June 12th. Time for Change is actually going to go straight down to City Hall. We're going to be presenting our Adopt the Park program presentation as well as our harm reduction presentation. So be there. Come support us. It's open to the public. You can find the times and the dates and other important information all on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, and stay connected with us. We hope to see you guys there, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the episode. Thank you.
What's up? Welcome back to Voices for KERN. We are still, you just saw a commercial about us going to City Council. Dylan, hit him. Just give it to him right now.
Yeah, so we're going to be going to City Council on June 12th on Wednesday. Make sure you guys come support us, watch it. Yeah, just help support us. We're going to be presenting all this information to them. So, yeah, June 12th, Wednesday.
We'll touch more on that as we migrate out about actionable items as it pertains to our work. But we got commercials. I just want to say that. Like, we're killing it right now. Where's AJ at? Is he in here? Shout out to you, AJ. Doing his thing with the team, showing the guys the ropes. Just want to do a quick shout out. We are moving around. It's cool to have fun, huh? But everybody's like, no, it's all good. This is our city, and we're taking care of it. Let's go back to alcohol, tobacco, and potentially drugs at the park. I'm going to ask a question to all you guys. You give me your feedback. I'm going to start off by saying, when I was a teen, preteen, we used to go to the park so we could use. It wasn't good. But if there was a park that was like more hood, then we felt more comfortable. The nicer the park, the less you wanted to go in and do that. Like, so if we had like a couple beers or whatever, sorry, Mom. Whatever, we had beers. So then we were at the park and we were like drinking the beers, but if the park was nice and like it looked like it was well kept and people cared about it, you knew that like you might get in trouble. But if the park was hood and dudes were drinking there and just it looked super hood, then you'd be like, heck yeah. So that's for me. I think that goes along with the renovation revitalization project. That goes along with what we found, and that goes with the overall vibe of what's okay to do at a place. Based on how it feels, how it looks, and what's already happening there. So I think it's bad, and I think us finding that is more indicative of the fact that the park needs a major uplift. But what do you guys think?
I think the park is a scary place. I personally saw a young man sitting on a curb on the parking lot, injecting into his neck and passing out.
In real
In
time?
front of me, yes, at a cleanup. And I felt helpless. I didn't have Narcan training, which we all have now. I didn't have naloxone with me, which we do now. But it was heartbreaking.
Oh, she said she saw. Did she say?
I did.
That he was injecting into his neck?
Yes.
Was there other youth there that seen?
No, he was sitting on the curb by himself. But there were other people
So we
in
got
that
lucky
area
that
at the
day.
park. Yeah, I didn't approach him. I had no idea at the time what to do, and I'd never actually seen that before. It was sad.
You guys want to react to that?
I just think that's really sad that you had to see that, but I'm really sorry. But thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It was sad, but it was
Real.
eye-opening. It makes you understand why I'm passionate about taking these actions and making something happen.
It is really scary though, because I know that we go to the park and we find like the empty needles or like the empty packages and stuff like that, but like seeing somebody actually using, I feel like that would like put it way more into perspective for me. Like that is terrifying though, you know, going back to the school thing, like there's kids that live in that neighborhood. There's a school right there, like the gate of the park is literally the gate to the school, like they're right next to each other, and imagine a kid seeing that, or if that person spazzed out or like had a bad trip or something, or just that's traumatizing. I know for us it's traumatizing, but imagine being a younger mind seeing that. That's extremely traumatizing. Like just trying to come home from school, go to the park, that's
just trying to be a kid.
Yeah, that's
Dang. Lori just dropped a bombshell on us, telling us what. Did you ever tell me that before? I'm just wondering. Maybe
I
not.
might have.
That's crazy. I'm just so blown away right now.
I'm clearly I didn't take pictures.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things.
She all gets in a selfie with them.
Yeah.
Like,
That's one of the things that we really stress with
Yeah.
the kids, that you give these folks their space and be respectful, because they're not getting respect at all.
imagine you're not with Time for Change. You're just a kid, and you just want to kick it at the park with your boys, and then you see a guy shooting in his neck. What do you think that kid's perspective or perception of this moment is? What do you guys think?
I think it would be either one of two things. If it was a younger mind, first it'd be really traumatizing.
Yeah, freaked out.
First, he wouldn't. I don't think he'd want to go to that park again. Maybe. But if it was really younger mind, maybe he's gonna associate that park with using, and he's like you said, he's gonna feel more comfortable if using at that park compared to other parks because of what he just saw.
Wow.
Yeah.
Deeper. No. I'm saying I'm gonna go deeper with you right now.
Okay.
Like, he is that much more likely to be used to watching cats shoot up. So when he sees it, or when he gets to a point where it gets introduced to him, he's that much more comfortable than a kid that lives in another place. What do you think about
I
that?
kind of want to touch on that a little bit because
Yeah.
when we did the Tupi at MLK Park, there was a lot of stuff that was going on. Like, we were inside of a building, but there was a lot that was going on outside at the park. And I was talking to a group of little kids, and they range from, like, I want to say 12, like, I want to say like 5 to 12, I would say. And a lot of them, like, I would say, like, oh no, like, there's somebody's over there doing like something bad, like, come this way. Like, not saying what they were doing. They were using drugs, obviously, but they're like, oh no, like, they always do that. Like, oh, they always do that. And it's like, people are so used to that. Like, that's not a normal
It's like the
thing
norm,
to have.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not a normal thing to have to deal with. And kind of how Dylan said, like, when somebody sees an environment like that, if they already are using or ever start using in the future, they'll be comfortable going to that environment because they've already seen it done there before.
It's being modeled. for
And we
them.
don't want to, like, we don't want to open up that environment to youth. Like, we don't want, you know, them to be comfortable doing those things, like, or to be even seeing those things. I'm not saying that we can stop people from doing drugs, but the most that we can do is, like, try to help the community as we can, like cleaning up the park and
Meet
try
where
to-
they're at and stuff.
yeah, like meet them where they're at with their using.
Now, I want to give a quick shout out to the Rangers, because them being around has definitely upped the place. But even with them being around, let's talk a little bit about the vibes of MLK versus Silver Creek. What are the vibes? What do you guys think?
I live near Silver Creek. I've never felt uncomfortable there. I've never been approached by a rando.
Orlando. Yeah. I be putting Lori on game.
I've learned a few things.
Yeah.
I've never been scared to. I used to run at that park every day. I've never felt. I would not run at MLK ever.
Wow.
What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, Silver Creek is a really, really nice park compared to MLK Park. I mean, Silver Creek has like all those amenities, and it just looks cleaner. It looks.
It's actually interesting that you would say that because on paper, MLK Park and Silver Creek Park are sister parks. They're
Really?
the same size. They have rec centers. They have pools. They're next to elementary schools. They're in neighborhoods, but they could not be different.
So on
They ain't
paper,
twins.
on-
They're
That's
not.
great. Nah, say
That's
it
for
again.
sure.
Yeah.
On paper.
On
Yeah.
paper, if you look at the paper comparisons of both parks, they have all the same amenities.
wow, it doesn't feel like
Then
that.
take yourself to the neighborhood and see what's different.
What's real, yeah.
It's definitely not. The same.
Juneteenth celebration,
Mhm.
a minority celebration for Black people with freedom, June 19th, right? For another episode. But even like the big event that we throw for the city that I'm going to do this year, I looked at the flyer and it said Silver Creek Park. And I thought to
That's
myself,
where it was last year.
it was.
I was there.
Yeah, we were there.
We were there,
And then
yeah.
I thought to myself,
Like, why?
why? Why not? Why should, like, it should be on the east side maybe. Like, I'm not tripping, like, shout out to
Yeah.
NAACP, whatever they do. But I just thought to myself, is it because of the stuff we're talking about?
It is.
If we had that revitalization cracking and it was full happening, would they be having it there? So a lot of people see it, man.
Who's doing something about it?
Exactly.
They really
Us.
sort of abandoned the area because it's just not safe.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it will be.
Yeah. So some people ask, why study trash? But look at all that has come out of us digging in the trash.
Okay, we don't dig in the trash.
Oh, we did. She doesn't want to hear it. She bougie.
Trash.
She's bougie. I was digging. No gloves. Nah, I'm playing. I had gloves.
You wear gloves.
I had
We
gloves.
always have gloves.
Yeah.
Wear your PPE, wear your safety. That's a joke. We will not edit it out. Anyway, let's move forward. Let's talk action items. Let's talk actionable things. Let's talk about what we're doing. Lori, what are we doing about this?
Well, let's condense this into the short version. We presented our Garbology information to the Recreation and Parks Department, and it wasn't anything they didn't already know, but they asked us to go out and do a little bit more research about how we could mitigate some of these issues. And so the youth spent a lot of time with me. We did a lot of research, and we came up with some harm reduction items that we would like to see happen. First and foremost, a single unit sharp container syringe collection unit. The second one was kiosks and signs in the park that lead park patrons to community resources.
Come on.
And the third thing was to have all of the park employees, not just the rangers, Narcan or naloxone trained, and have that available in the rec centers. Currently, the park rangers do have it, but park rangers are not always on site.
Yeah.
So those are the three things that we want the Park and Recreation Department to change, and we're going to be presenting that to that in the City Hall meeting.
It's amazing.
We're
What do you guys
excited.
think? What do you guys think? What do you guys think?
I'm really hyped for that meeting, man. It's gonna be really cool.
I'm so excited because we've been talking about this for like over a year.
Yeah.
And it's finally coming to a head, and it's like, oh, thank God.
Side note, activism work is like slow work.
Yeah.
You don't really know until you get in the game. You might not see the fruit of your reward for like a minute. So it's like, that's really cool to know too. Because when I first got in this type of stuff, I was like, today.
We're gonna make change.
I want the
today.
park
I want
now.
the policy now.
It's time for change now.
Yeah.
And that's just not how it goes down. But it's so cool that we're doing this actionable work. What do you think of the people, actually know some people that said, the sharps container ain't gonna help because the same cat that uses drugs or the same type of cat that's out there is not the type of cat that's gonna put it in a sharps container. What would you guys say to that?
There's also some people saying that the idea of sharps containers is inviting users to
That's so cool to
use the
bring
park
that
as
up because that
a
is so
using
true.
area.
Yeah. What are our thoughts on those two critiques? Because we're open to
they're
them.
actually logical.
Yeah.
Well,
However,
not invalid or anything.
Right.
research has shown.
Come on, Lori, you better get in your bag right now.
Lead researcher.
Research has shown that sharps containers actually do reduce the number of discarded syringes by up to 98%.
Wow.
98?
Up to 98%.
okay,
That's
okay.
not an average.
It's still vibes though.
Up to 98%. And if you put a sharps container in a point, 200 meters radius around that point, you'll find a reduction. And 200-meter radius, coincidentally, is exactly the size of MLK Park.
Girl, you in your bag right now.
Thank you.
Do you know
Yeah.
that I hired her? Because I'm
chose you.
smart and I found it. No, I'm just playing.
Because I'm smarter.
She's smart. So I always find smarter people and bring them in. Now, Lori, as you can see, why she's on this episode, how she's been instrumental to our work because of stuff like this. What do you think about some of the critiques that we heard? I almost want to touch back on what Lori said because that was so cold and compelling, but let's keep it going because I know we're running out of time. What do you think about some of the critiques?
I think it was similar or exactly what Lori had said. She said that it was meeting people where they're at because obviously we can't stop people from, doing the things that they're doing in the park, but the most that we can do is provide something that can help protect the other community members who aren't using. No child needs to be near a syringe. If you're going to use one, at least put it in this box so you can keep this kid safe. There's a school next to you, like be mindful. And also, with the signage and stuff like that, I think that provides people with resources that they may not know that they have.
Wow.
Not everybody knows that they have resources. Some people think that they're stuck when you're in that position. So
Wow.
providing those resources and providing these other actionable items, I think that it goes together hand in hand and it can create a better space. And I feel like once it's done, people can still have their critiques, but once they see that it'll actually change something, then, I feel like that kind of gets shut down after that.
When are you running for mayor?
But I also want to touch how
That was a bar, huh?
I also want to say that those critiques, they make me feel like really hopeless sometimes because how is it that maybe it is that the majority of these people do share those critiques and like it just feels like that's not gonna help. Let's not bother doing it. And that's like that's I don't like that mindset. I feel like there's always something to do. There's always something to pursue, and there's always something we can learn and act on. And I just think that's like our mission and our goal here at Cyber Change.
Time for change.
I'm about to freaking start crying.
I think
My-
there's one other aspect to that too
Jump in there.
that I feel really strongly about this. We're assuming that these people who use these drugs have no conscience, that they're so wrapped up in it.
Right.
What if the only
Wow.
positive act they can do is to use that needle and then put it in a sharps container rather than throw it away? What if they're not offered any other options, which at the moment they're not? They can choose to do the right thing. They maybe aren't doing the right thing for themselves. I mean, they're making bad decisions there, but what if we give them the option to make one good decision? And if you find one sharp in that container, that's success.
It's like we said, change takes time, and if we can allow them to have the option to insert just one needle into a sharp container, then if that makes them feel just a little bit better about themselves, then let's do it.
Shows that we're working.
Yeah.
We're doing our job.
I'm so happy right now. My response is like way less intelligent. What's your idea, man? That's all I really.
kinda what I feel like
That's all
saying.
I thought. Okay,
Professionalism.
let's do nothing. But what's your idea?
Like, you got something better to say?
And then when I ask, they'll be like, So you
If
want
you
to?
ask a group of kids, they had plenty of ideas.
Yeah, we sat with all our youth,
Exactly.
and they came up with
This
those ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and to be honest, like the work itself is freaking groundbreaking. Like we take it for granted because we've been in this thing for a while. We're just like, it's what time for change does. But do you realize what happens when I was talking about our work in Chicago last week to Project Hood that works on O Block, the most dangerous block in the country by far, where Little Dirk and King Von come from. And I was over there telling them about what we're doing, and they were like, huh? Oh yeah.
Wow.
And want to start trying to do stuff like that on O Block. So we're doing some groundbreaking work here. So groundbreaking that Siri just kind of jumped in and said, yeah.
Must be time.
Yeah. But I just think it's amazing. As we're starting to wrap this thing up, do you guys want to just give some final thoughts individually about all that we've talked about and just how you feel about it and just kind of some remarks? Because this has been good. This has been good.
I'm really proud that first of all, I'm proud that they are willing to pick up garbage. In fact, not only doing this entire Garbology study, which was a big deal, but our youth have shown up every month to continue to clean this park. And we're even to the point now where we get to the park and we go, oh, it's not as bad today. Or, oh, it's usually worse over here. But like, we own that park now.
Yeah.
They're invested in it emotionally. It makes me happy to see their continuing optimism in the face of, like you said, it's taken a long time to get this far. We're just going to keep going until we succeed because of them.
Because of us.
This is sad. Thoughts?
No, I just want to say that Lori is a really good researcher, really good youth coordinator, but she's also a really amazing mentor. Like, she's really cool.
Thank you. Thanks.
But yeah, I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited to go to City Hall, City Council meeting. Words.
That's okay.
But
yeah,
I'm really excited. CiCi.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Yeah, I also want to say that Lori's a super great mentor. It's her first podcast with us. Oh my gosh. But yeah, doing this whole project and helping out with it and doing the Zoom meetings and going over the stuff that, you know, we've been looking at for a long time, it kind of makes me feel better about the stuff that we've been doing for a while. And I'm honestly just happy to see it come to fruition. So, yeah.
Oh my
Is that the right word?
Fruition.
Perfect.
That was perfect.
Fruition.
Wow. I also want to say that Lori's a really great mentor. And I'm really proud of what you did and what you're doing and how you do it and this hybrid of tasks and things that you're able to do. You've been a blessing to this particular show. On this one, you got down, you got in your bag, you hit us with the stats. I can't wait till City Council because I'm just gonna walk up to the stage and be like, you can't handle the truth. No, I'm not gonna do that, but I want to do that. But other than that, they're all mad. They kick us out. I'm really excited about the work we're doing. This is the best part about this work to me is that we are teaching a generation of youth that it's okay to be yourself, that this work we do is not nerdy. You can be the cool guy and be this kind of work. You can be the nerd and be this kind of work. You can be the computer guy. You can be the musician. You could be the media personality. You can be the researcher. You can be a freaking mayor of the world. You can be a Dylan who's just gifted. You can be AJ who loves film. You can be whatever you want to be and still care about your community. You can still do this work. You don't have to be a genius. You know, if you don't think you're smart, you'll come and find out that you have things that you can beat and barriers you can overcome by finding out that other people care about our city too. You heard it from your boy. We're on Voices for KERN, Time for Change. And we are up out of here. I'll drink to that.
Oh,
Oh, waters.
chin chin. Oh.
Boom. Wow.